Great to have your company. Very big show tonight. A lot of fun to be had, Jim, and a lot of news kicking around. The Essendon Footy Club flying at the moment. Their captain, Joe Watson, is going to join us live in the studio tonight.
And also an AFL investigation, Gary, into one of the biggest names in the game. We'll tell you who it is and what it's about with Damien Barrett later on.
Damo will also tell us that there's another club who've inquired about the services of Travis Cloak. We'll tell you who that club is tonight.
Yes, and a couple of weeks ago, Gary, I went face first down a 40-storey building. So tonight, we find out what Shane Crawford's going to do for Nissan next week.
And a bit of live in-studio action and two big superstars on the panel. Let's get this thing started.
Footy show, of course, on a Friday night from the Docklands here in Victoria, and it is time to get this panel involved in tonight's show, and this team are flying. Undefeated, please welcome the All-Australian Premiership-winning superstar from the West Coast Eagles, Dean Cox. And from the Blues, who are also travelling beautifully, the Brownlow favourite, Mark Murphy. From Essendon, Matty Lloyd.
Have a look at that panel. Don't tell me the superstars aren't on this panel. That's as good a panel. Lloyd, he only recently retired, but the other two in great form. Going to get to them very shortly. We've got to introduce a man now who in the past few weeks has come out dressed as One Direction. Also did a bit of voice work. He sat me down before the show. He said, enough, I need to get into some really heavy footy issues. It's revolving around your team, Coxie. He's very, very much wants to get his teeth into the West Coast.
Focused on them.
Focused. I've never seen him so worked up about an issue. So please welcome the 300-game superstar from Geelong, John Sammy Newman.
Oh, no.
Quack, quack, quack. Yeah, duck off, Gary.
What? What did you say?
Duck. I'll be ducked. Can you believe the fracas, Dean, that's gone on? What's wrong with you?
Sam, I was hoping you'd trip over on the way up here, but obviously
Ducks never trip, mate. No, I could...
You're going to tackle this big, serious issue.
Well, I'm serious about this, Gary.
The ducking issue?
Let me just duck this. I'm serious about it.
Yeah, it's taken the footy world by storm, I tell you.
It's taken me by... laid an egg here. What's happened? Now, look, honestly and truly, you're going to play the game... What are you doing over there, mate? You're undefeated, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yes.
What, are you trying to think of new and different ways that you can sneak by?
No, just trying to...
Well, lift your head up, man.
Oh, you think I'd duck my head? I don't get too many head high, Sam. No. So... I think,
has it been a plan?
No, it's not. We don't train for it. We don't practice it. We've got a lot of small blokes, Ashton Hams and that in our footy side, who go in low and hard at the footy, and they get their heads taken off every now and again and cop the free kicks for it.
Is it as big a story over in Western Australia as it has been over here, Coxie? Are you aware that, you know, the clubs all over the place talking about it, the AFL are talking about it? It's been the biggest talking point here for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it has been in Perth as well, I think. Something we can't really do too much about. We've just got to continue playing the footy the way we have been doing. And
could stand up.
Yeah.
Lift your head
up. It can actually be a poor technique in the tackle, Sam. Have you ever thought about that?
That you make yourself as low as possible so that
the tackle fatigue might come in and they mightn't use the correct technique and cop people high.
Some people are suggesting that it's an absolute tactic and you train for it and you drill it and you go through it. And I've heard John Worsfold talk about it, but it's never been spoken about.
No, the playing group don't. We do a fair bit of tackling as training throughout, like every AFL football club would, but we don't focus on dropping
Running
our knees
low.
or getting in low and trying to draw a free kick at all. So, I think Joel Selwood's mastered it from the Cats, and
You're pushing it over to them now.
well, it's all on us at the minute. And a lot of other people do it as well.
Do a lot of squats in the gym, they reckon, just to get the low equilibrium.
Core strength, Sam.
Yeah,
That's what
core
it's about.
strength.
Coxie, let's swing on to things off field because not only are things flying for you over in the West on field and doing beautifully, but we also saw in the off season where you just did beautifully. Here, have a look at this.
Look at that, Coxie.
Just magnificent. Now, where was this, please?
Punching above his weight.
Yeah, totally agree, Gaz. But no, I was down at Lewin Estate, a winery down south.
Nice.
So
And you did it down on the beach, we're told. We've had some very good intelligence. You're at the beach, and it took you some time to get there.
I thought I'd wait for a little bit until we had a couple of drinks, and then I got too nervous and decided it had to be done straight away. And by all reports, apparently I bawled my eyes out for about 3 hours. So,
Blubbering mess, we were told.
yeah. Always believe what you hear other footballers tell you, Gaz.
Oh, while we're on that, Coxie, we don't see you too often, so we have had to speak to a couple of your teammates.
Oh, here we go.
Now, what we got here is 5 things that you wouldn't know about Dean Cox. You can tell us at the end, Coxie, who you reckon we got this stuff from. This is apparently fact. 5, hates coffee but drinks it because he thinks it makes him look cool and sociable. That's number 5. Number 4, his wife says he's got a sloppy rig and makes him wear a T-shirt to bed. Getting some idea where this has come from. Number 3, co-owns a restaurant and apparently does F4, and his partners want him out.
Exactly like the other partner and who made all this stuff up.
Number 2, I love this one, tells everyone he's the only player to win 2 runner-up Norm Smith medals. And this, now, they're all a bit of fun, but this particular player
here we go.
said this is the thing that is absolutely driving you nuts. The number 1 thing we need to know about Dean Cox is hates the fact everyone's talking about Nick Nat Newell, he's not here. Now, we did notice with great interest that Nick Nat didn't play last week, Jim, and Big Coxie just delivered a best on ground to remind everyone. Who just at a wild guess, who do you reckon gave us this sort of stuff?
Embers for sure.
100%. Andrew Embley, we thank you for your comments.
Okay, Gary, but the wife one, I don't reckon you'd be happy with your wife either calling your body sloppy. And I don't reckon you agree with that. Let's have a look at some vision of Coxie down at the beach doing some rehab.
No, Big Cox. They want style.
Yeah, I was actually late to the Sunday footy show and had to get through recovery a little early, so thanks for that, Lloydie.
That's right.
Well, Lloydie just running him with
He
crispy
likes,
off the top.
he does enjoy it. Gary, the 3 clubs these gentlemen represent have won 16 of the available 18 games, Essendon, Carlton and the West Coast. It is quite extraordinary. And Murph, even though it was a 60-plus point win on the weekend, your club drew a bit of criticism too.
Yeah, we played the GWS and it wasn't our finest game, but got the 4 points, which is the main thing.
And came away from that, as I understand it, I spoke to Bryce Gibbs today, realising that they're a long way from the worst.
Yeah, they really cracked in and had a good crack at us. So I think they won contested ball and clearances, and to beat us in that area is not a bad effort. And I reckon a couple of years, I reckon they'll be right up there.
Get a surprise with Matty Cruiser out of the team with knee injury and then just suddenly came back in at the last minute.
Yeah, it's a bit of magic ice, I think, that Big Cruz took. But it's always good to have Cruz playing there in the ruck.
Just on that, I can't wait for the first club to come out and say we're actually resting players, because I think there's nothing wrong with it. I think it was a massive beat-up. We've seen Geelong do it all last year, manage their players, and West Coast can be 8-0 or 10-0 like Geelong were last year. I reckon you're crazy not to do it. So I just think that I don't know why we need to hide away from the fact that you rest your players.
I agree. So did you rest a Murph or not?
No, Cruz played, but
Juddy?
Juddy was a little bit sore.
Where was he sore, Murph?
He's got a very heavy wallet.
Yeah,
Just a bit sore.
we all know about that.
Well, Gary,
Moths fly out of it as well when he opens it.
They do too, actually.
if Juddy hadn't been rested, I don't think they would have been able to squeeze Josh Bootsma into their side. And let's have a look at Josh here.
Oh, yes.
That's speak about imposing rigs. He looks like me. There he is in the song afterwards, and played very nicely too,
Hey,
by
what
the
can
way.
you tell us about him, Murph? He goes okay.
He goes very well, the meerkat. That was good to see him come out and get a few kicks on debut.
Well, Murph, what it did is remind us a hell of a lot of this bloke. Who wandered down from Kyabram and had a similar rig going at the time, Gary.
Josh 15 there, Jim.
Well, so's
Come
Josh
on.
Bootsma.
No, he's not.
He's only 15.
Mate, the resemblance is uncanny. This is...
There he is.
Now, if I was to just... bloody...
Oh.
So my wings got caught on the chair, Gary. Shit, come on.
Come on.
Duck me. If I was just to embellish this up, you would hardly tell the difference, mate. I mean,
Look at this idiot.
you tell me that's not the spitting image of... Look at that.
What are you doing there?
Hey,
What are you doing?
that's you looking annoyed and grumpy. That's the very heavy monobrow.
Oh,
And
thank
this is
you,
you
Foss,
here.
that
No, that is almost identical.
I agree.
He's a fine young man and we wish him all the best. Hey, Lloydie, you get us into the first game. Tomorrow night, MCG Melbourne take on Hawthorn.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, 3 changes for the Melbourne Football Club. James Sellers out with a calf strain. Lyndon Dunn and Luke Tapscott have been omitted. Ricky Paddard, Fitzpatrick and Bennell come in for the Demons. And over to the Hawks. They lose their skipper. They lose their skipper, Luke Hodge, who can't take a trick. He's out with a knee injury. Jared Bowman had appendix trouble and he's out for a while. Gillam and Young come in for the Hawks, but I think they'll be far too strong. But just on the centre bet offer of the week, it's all about superstar Cyril Rioli. Between 3 and 4 o'clock tomorrow, Centre Bet is offering $4 on Cyril Rioli that he'll kick 3 or more goals in the game, Gaz. So don't just watch it. Back Cyril Rioli tomorrow.
That's hard work when you've got an idiot in the room, I know that. So centrebet.com.au to get on there. Now, anyone suggesting the Demons might cause the upset of the season?
They haven't beaten the Hawks for 6 years, Gaz, so wouldn't expect. They can't afford to lose Hawthorn 3 and 3, so I think they'll win quite comfortably.
Murph?
The Hawks have won their past 8. I think they'll make it win number 9 in a row.
All right, any love for the Demons, Coxie?
No, Franklin Rioli, very dangerous. Good to see their back line starting to get some regular players back, so Hawthorn too strong.
Well, I tell you what, Gary. Since
He got into trouble last week.
He did.
I tell you what, I don't know what was happened last week, but I tell you what, ever since then, shit. Have I been hungry? I don't know what we put in that stuff, but my God, I haven't stopped eating. What, Doritos? Do you like them?
Doritos.
Hey, you tipping against your
What are you
team?
called?
You going against your team? Doritos.
Doritos.
Oh,
You going against your team there, or you?
absolutely. Look, I think we'll win again this decade.
No, they
We're
will.
having fun.
Oh, now we've got something we're going to look forward to coming up,
shit.
Force.
Let me have a look here, Jimmy. Bit hard to turn the thing over these.
Oh, you want a hand of
Yeah,
it?
of course I do.
Yes.
Let me just. Oh, well now,
So organised.
lady
Scary.
and gentlemen, if ever you've stayed watching, or if ever you are on tenterhooks here, not often are we in the company of a comedic genius, but Gary has told 2 jokes on this show ever since its inception.
Prepared him.
And he has got an absolute thigh slapper coming up. This is the sort of thing that Seal could wrap his flappers round if he was on The Voice. This is, you could just do this gag
I don't know
and
what
take
you're
the buttered
talking about.
confection. You know what I'm talking about. You have put together a
you prepared one?
visual comedic piece of excellence which could go around the world. It'll be coming up shortly.
Come on,
Gary.
Come on.
It'll be coming
no,
up.
Well, I'm not going to do it.
You
No,
have
simple as that.
secret meetings
you're not
where
gonna
you
do it.
prepare this
Come
stuff
on,
and
let's
we
get
don't
on with
know
the
about
show.
it.
Get on with
Don't
it.
you?
No, I don't at all.
It will be coming up.
All right.
And
Well, okay, I hope you laugh.
I'm just going to turn over to the page to see when it is coming up. It's not coming up now, is it? It's coming up later. So stay tuned. This, if this doesn't go around the world, as
The man is an idiot, and just
Groucho Marx, horse feathers, that was huge. W.C. Fields was big, but you
Any
and Laurel and
comedians that
Hardy.
have been around in the last 100 years?
Yeah, Eddie Murphy,
Damien Barrett's coming up with
Damien Barrett, another comedian.
coming up with plenty footy news. There's lots more. We're going to a break.
Tonight, on a real sharp version of the Footy Show, Essendon captain Job Watson wanders by to talk about the high-flying Bombers. Sam can dish it out, but tonight he has to cop it as we see the all-time best abuse he's faced in 19 years of street talk.
Sammy, mate, what have you been eating, mate? That smells like shit.
The Captain America of journalists, Damo, has all the news. And speaking of heroes, after my daring display tonight, we find out what Bear Croft will be facing. Plus, hold on to your sides, ladies and gentlemen. Gary has another crispy. Welcome back to the Footy Show. Great to have your company now. We also want to very quickly thank Nissan Navara and Home Timber and Hardware, of course, Australia's only proper hardware store. Great friends of the Footy Show. And we thoroughly appreciate their support. Now, Job Watson not far away, by the way, but you would remember, that last week we met one of the greatest Carlton footy fans you've ever seen. This man's name is Manu. He's a huge blue. Gaz had a chat to him down in the crowd. There he is. We had such a huge response to Manu that we thought we'd get him on again. So let's cross out now to the Carlton news agency owned by Manu and say hello. Manu, g'day.
Hey, guys.
Now, Manu, as I just said, we had great feedback on your appearance on the show last week. Did you have fun when you were in here?
Yes, definitely.
Well, actually, it's a pity, Manu, you weren't here tonight, mate, because you love the Blues so much. We got Mark Murphy here on the panel.
What? Mark Murphy's on the show? Hang on 1 second.
I was just talking to you backstage. You've become somewhat of a legend down there at Carlton, at the Carlton News Agency.
Yeah, small superstar there, yeah.
And you went to the game the weekend, went down to the...
Definitely, mate, definitely. Was in the first row with the cheer squad.
Yeah, and what happened? They come for you?
Yeah, they all did. And I was signing T-shirts and autographs and all those things, yeah.
I don't, now listen, I want you to turn around. You had this jumper on last week. Now, I want you to turn around. You've gone for number 27, which is Dennis Armfield, who we love.
we do,
Triple
Dennis.
M, Jim, but he's not your highest sort of profile.
No, mate. This was the only one left, so... That's something that I have to pay into, you know.
Now listen, I want you to go over and see Murph. He may have something for you now. So this is your big moment, all right? Wander over and see the superstar.
All right, Manu, we've got
Murphy!
Okay.
All right, mate.
Hey, buddy.
Good, how you going?
Just got you the number 3, mate, so you can chuck this on when you get home.
Love it. Actually, I'm going to do it right now if I can.
What about Dennis?
He can go underground.
No, mate, that looks a good. It's number 3. There you go. How's that feel?
Thank you.
What about Big Ben Cox? Are you a fan of Cox's work at the West Coast Eagles?
No,
Yeah, wasn't too happy with him last year, though.
No.
In the finals, yeah.
Stitched up.
And Manu, what about the Essendon Carlton game this year?
Wasn't that good, but yeah, I reckon we got a fair good chance. We'll end up in top 2.
Has word flooded back from the Punjab about your recent success?
Definitely.
Have you had a little bit of news from over home, Islamabad or wherever you live?
No. That's the opposition.
Where are you from?
Oh, that's Pakistan,
India,
is it?
India.
What part?
Punjab.
Mumbai. Sorry.
Hey,
Bombay.
before we let you go, because we can talk to you all night.
Yep.
The Blues, mate, you got to wait till Monday for Carlton to play.
Well, I'm going to be there again with the cheer squad right in the first row, and they're going to win definitely.
All right, please thank Manu. Everyone is just a superstar. I'll tell you what else happened. Actually, sorry.
Anyone as mystified as I was at how quickly Manu got from his news agency in Carlton to the Docklands studio.
The wonders of television, Jim.
Oh, it was fantastic.
He did, Lloydie. He's a superstar. People have been coming into the Carlton news agency. He left his mobile phone on the bench and got it pinched last week. Now that's
What
not
bench? We're here.
No, at the Carlton news agency.
Oh.
So
Surely
we're
we can
going to
help
get
him
him a
out.
new iPhone, Manu. I don't know if he's probably gone, but he's going to get a new iPhone with the Carlton.
Oh, we'll find one for him somewhere, Gary. But while we do, Richmond take on the Sydney Swans.
That's right, Richmond versus Sydney Swans, Saturday afternoon at the MCG. Richmond, Innies, Daniel Jackson out, Tyrone Vickery. Fantastic last week to defeat Port Adelaide by 37 points at Amy Stadium. As we look over to Sydney. Out Adam Goods with a quad and Roberts Thompson in, Trent Dennis-Lane and White. Tigers won their past 2 matches against the Swans at the G. Kennedy in fantastic form, so should be an enthralling battle.
Who are we going for, Coxie?
I'm going to stick with Sydney to continue to...
Adam Goods, Murph?
Yeah, it's a big loss, Adam Goods, obviously, for Sydney. I think Richmond have been playing some really good footy the last few weeks, and I reckon they'll get up.
I reckon Richmond can get up, and it's off the back of Jack Revolt. But I've got to take Jack to task a little bit. It was Umpires Appreciation Week last week. It
was.
And let's take a look at Jack Revolt's effort. Right. He has smashed the umpire straight in the head. Good effort from the umpire to get up and just get on with it.
Courageous.
But that is nothing. Let's go back a few decades, Gary, to the... Tony Lockett, Tony Plugger Lockett. This is the old ladies in the Sydney cheer squad. And Plugger. They were 80-year-old women he was kicking those footies at, Plugger.
The one silver-haired old man that used to sit behind there and give it to you all day long. Who are you liking in this one, Force?
I'm surprised, Dean, that you said that Richmond have beaten Sydney in the last 2 times at the MCG. That's staggering.
Big Coxie, yeah, that's
what's
exactly
that?
right. Big Coxie came up with that one, yes.
Oh, yeah, Big Coxie did, yeah. I know, that's what I said. I was surprised he said that.
Sorry, I wasn't listening.
Tony Lockett, lucky he wasn't charged with homicide. He could have killed 8 or 9 people there. Well, I reckon Richmond might beat them too. Because I was very surprised the Swans got rolled last week. That was a Herculean effort by whoever beat them.
Adelaide are in fantastic
Fantastic.
form themselves. Hey, just a couple of milestones too. Marty Matner, game 100. Brett Delidio, 100th consecutive game. And Dustin Martin to play his 50th on the weekend. Well done. Next game we're going to have a look at. This is a very big game.
Well, who do you think's going to win that game?
Oh, sorry, I did not say Sydney, I think. GWS take on the Gold Coast Suns. Now, the Giants were pretty good for a half against Carlton. They've made some changes. Treloar, Townsend, Cameron, Phillips, Izzy Folau and Chad Corns come back into the side. Very competitive for half of that game last week, and as Mark Murphy's told us, they are very, very, very hard at the footy. They take on the Gold Coast Suns, who were also very impressive. Only went down by 7 points to Fremantle. We're in front with only a few minutes to go. They've made 3 changes, and they're big changes. Of course, Nathan Bott with a broken leg. We wish him all the best in his recovery. But in come Ablett, Riscatelli and Code. So Gary Ablett back into the side. Harley Bennell playing the sort of footy that I think everyone thought he was capable of, Lloydie. Now, is Gazza going to play first off?
Oh, I hope he does. I think I've missed playing. I think players have developed, Sam, while he hasn't been there, but I think they need him to get over the line. I think that 6 changes is too many for any side. I reckon they're pretty unsettled. They have to do it because they're struggling to get through the season, but I think Gold Coast are playing well enough to get over the line.
All right, if Ablett doesn't play, would that change him all?
No, I think they've actually played all right without him.
All right, Murph?
First, I just wanted to wish Satana all the best with his knee reco, doing his ACL last week. A bit of a shame, kicked 2 goals against us in the first half and unfortunately went down with that, so all the best to Satana. I just think Just think, I think Gold Coast with Ablett coming back in the side, obviously Bennell last week, kicking 3 and getting 30 odd, pretty handy player. So I think the Suns will be too good.
All right, Big Coxie.
Yeah, showed some really good form, obviously, to just fall short of Fremantle last week, but I see Harley's re-signed with the club for a couple of years. Unfortunately, we can't get him back to WA,
Yeah,
but
we were very keen to get him back.
would have been wrapped. He's a fantastic player, and I think Gold Coast will be too strong.
And one of your... I don't know if you crossed over with Bluey McKenna. Did you, Coxie, or did he finish before you started?
Yeah, no, I played a couple of years with
Yeah,
Bluey.
well, the mail is that he's going to be re-signed too very quickly, which is a good news story too for Bluey, who's doing a very good job with the Gold Coast Suns. What do you think, Samuel?
It's quite seriously, this will be the hardest fought game in recent memory of any combination of sides that lock horns on any given day. Because the bragging rights here, both sides will see a legitimate chance to get their first win. And I don't know why people keep saying Carlton won by 11 goals won last week.
Half-time, what was it at half-time?
Well, who cares what it was at half-time?
Well, we're just saying they're a young side. They're going to be competitive.
No, mate, come
for
on.
parts of the game.
11 goals won, because they were just in first gear up in half-time, and when they just thought they better put a spirit on resting all the players, they won by 11 goals won. I mean, that is a belting.
The point being that they're one of the premiership fancies, and everyone thought they'd win by 100.
Because they didn't, obviously unofficially rested half the side, and they weren't up for it, Gary.
Right.
You know,
who are you tipping?
spiritually and mentally, getting up for a game is a lot different to physically being there.
Who are you tipping there, Forza?
Well, I'm just going to tip the Gold Coast,
Are you?
but yeah, I am.
All right, we should mention Andrew Phillips is going to make his debut for the GWS. He's recruited from the Tassie under-18, so well done, Andrew. I think the Gold Coast are going to win. It'll be a great game. Time now for Sam's Mailbag.
And don't forget, coming up, the joke, probably of
Come on.
the modern era
Come
coming up. In fact, I'll tell you, everyone's onto it, and I'll show you that a little bit later on why everyone's onto it. Sharrod of Heathmont, Sharrod. That's apparently his or her name, Sharrod. Have you ever heard of Sharrod?
Sharrod Wellingham plays for Collingwood Foss.
So it's a boy.
Yes, I would imagine.
A lot of people reckon you're an embarrassment. Jesus, Sharrod. But did you see that sports guy on Sky News who looked like he was doing something rude but reckoned he was just coughing? Get real. I haven't seen it. Let's have a look, whatever Sharrod's talking
During
about.
a live cross with Jim Wilson, the camera momentarily caught a shot of Sky presenter James Bracey. Bracey claims he was simply coughing. The Sky News presenter has
Well, what was he doing?
I don't know. What's wrong with that?
He had a cough.
Oh, that's how I get rid of a migraine.
Oh, no.
That's now this here. This is a sealed envelope that I'm going to read out. We're not quite allowed to read it out yet because this is a letter, a genuine letter. We have to wait for a certain time before we go into a different rating, don't we?
That's right, exactly right. So you got to
Which
hang
will be
on
in
to it.
about a minute if you can hang around. But that's coming up, and the joke of the Paris of Ocean Grove saw Mark Murphy is going to be on. Saw Mark Murphy is going to be on. Tell him he's a hunky hunkster. And that I saw his Twitter. I saw on his Twitter he is having trouble with mice. And then it says LOL. I have no idea what LOL means.
Lots of love.
What is it?
Lots of laugh out loud.
Laugh
or
out loud,
lots of
is it?
love, depending on the context.
LOL means lots of love?
Laugh out loud, mate. That'll be what that is.
Having trouble with LOL. What a scaredy cat. Are you having mouse trouble, mate, or what?
Yeah, bit of a rat issue at the moment.
A bit of what?
A rat issue.
A rat issue. I thought you said rat issues. Where at? Is it...
Outside on the deck, I just sit there on the TV and a rat ran past the other night.
A rat?
Yeah.
How's the hygiene industry going down there? Well, apparently this was taken outside Mark's residence. Anyhow, we've blown the budget on this, mate, but you can take this back with you. This is hernia. We can take this back with you. That's it there. And just put a bit of cheese in there, mate. That'll entice the little buggers to come and... I think we put it up this end there. I actually... what was that? I had a cat once that we had a rat problem at home.
Here we go.
And I used to feed my cat cheese, and it used to sit outside the mouth holes with bated breath.
No.
So, mate...
That is the worst joke you've ever told.
But I'll tell you, the best joke and the best gag is coming up. Himself there is going to tell it. This is, I only try to be just weak so he can be shown out to be a star. Nathan of Esperance. Why don't you do dogs that look like Gary anymore?
Yes.
It was my favourite segment.
It was good.
You'll think I'm making this up, but we're not allowed to because Gary went to management at the end of last year and he said, I will not do this show if you're going to do dogs that look like me. I've got to have...
True.
At that stage, I was helping run Melbourne Football Club and I'm a commentator and on all arms of the media and I must remain credible. So, in deference to Gary, we're not going to do dogs that look like him, but this is various things that look like Gary.
Sorry, I'll put that. That's funny.
That's a tree that looks like Gary.
That's a beauty.
Thanks, Jim. This is a kayak that looks like Gary. This is a bit of crusty old pizza that looks like Gary. This is the front of someone's house that looks like Gary.
Oh, the mono.
And wait for it. This is an amazing similarity between this and Gary's pissed look at the Logies.
If you want to contribute to this unbelievably funny segment, now why wouldn't you?
Incidentally.
Oh, hang on, just
No.
let me get the address out. GPO Box 9, Melbourne, Victoria 3001, sams.mailbag@9.com.au or footyshow.com.au.
I'm sorry to break in, but incidentally, have I missed something? Is it true I see Darren Hinch alluded to the fact that Mark Robinson from the Herald Sun and Mick Warner, is he Time Warner's son or someone over there that runs it? They had a fracas in in a pub, also known as the Boardroom. Is that? And Darren Hinch has alluded to the fact that there was a giant blue, and the Herald Sun never published the actual result, because if you had a fight with me or anyone in a pub, you would be front page. What is this? Is this because Iron Mike Sheehan has retired and they can't work out who's the #1 writer there, and they've all got a bit testy? Is that right?
I don't know the answer to that.
Foss, it's not actually that big a deal.
You know
is it?
who was, and I'll just tell you something else. You know Damien Barrett? You know he was asked to be the #1 writer for the Herald Sun during the summer. You knew that?
Is that right?
Yeah, they asked.
Why would he not take
He
that
was
up?
offered the head job. He was. He was.
Yes.
That's the second worst joke you've told.
He was offered.
And he stayed, obviously, with us.
Well, why would you? You go down for a light Beaujolais to discuss what's going to be on the front page, and you're suddenly in World Championship Wrestling. You've had your head caved in by just someone chatting to you.
I think they sorted it out, Voss. I think it's just a minor disagreement. A play fight.
No, but
A
Gary,
play
why
fight.
wouldn't it make the Herald Sun?
Well,
This is a significant... These are two media people, well, Robbo's everywhere now on Fox, and they've had a giant blue. He had loosened a couple of his molars. He did.
Molars.
He loosened a couple of molars.
Oh, well,
Righto,
they
Foss.
sorted.
Well, anyway, they've sorted it out.
And
so
they said
let's-
Ralph Horowitz was going to be...
Ralph Horowitz. Not Ralph Horowitz.
Ralph, someone said Ralph was.
John Ralph.
John Ralph.
He wasn't in the fight.
But you said Ralph Horowitz.
He wasn't in the fight. John Ralph.
John Ralph.
No, he wasn't in the fight.
But he's spoiling to be #1.
No, well, it's...
Who's going to take over from Mike Sheehan?
I don't know the answer to that.
No, I think
Well, why
it's-
didn't they show that the fight was... Why didn't they put on the front page?
I don't think
Even
it's that
our
big a
blokes
deal,
go toe-to-toe.
It's not that big a deal. Let's
It's
be brutally
a
honest.
huge deal.
Let-
They've suppressed it.
It's time, I think, that you can do the sealed section.
What is the time?
It's 10 past 10.
Now, this has come in. Someone told me Ralph Horowitz was
Not
in.
Ralph Horowitz.
John
he used to
Ralph.
work on this show, Ralph Horowitz.
I know, that's why I couldn't
Racetrack.
work it. Hey?
Racetrack Ralphie.
Jamison of Montmorency. Hey, Foss, g'day. I was watching The Voice last week and something caught my eye. It seems Seal is enjoying the show even more than most. This is...
That's not on.
Look,
That's after 11, that sort of stuff.
looks like he's blown a seal.
That's after 11.
A little bit of car trouble, blown a seal. Now, now Gaz, you might chortle.
I'm not chortling.
You
Gary.
are, because you probably started this.
Oh.
He did lose his supermodel wife.
The goat down in front.
Honestly.
Our big boss,
I just about
Tim
had-
Cleary.
I don't
And
know.
Gary, you look like you were really enjoying that.
And is this the joke coming up now?
No,
or-
it's not the joke. We're going to go to
yeah.
a break. We've
The
got-
joke's coming
Who's
up.
coming up, Gary? You need to tease
plenty
a
more
very
to come.
big guest.
I tell you, don't go away. One of the great blokes and the great footballers of the AFL, Joe Watson, the captain of Essendon, joined us after.
I once made my mum an ashtray in woodwork class, but she doesn't smoke.
I think I gave her a bar of soap once and I sticky taped the 20 cents change to the card.
Probably a coffee mug a couple of years ago. Yeah, just a Kangaroo's coffee mug it was.
Hammer, I reckon. I thought I nailed it that year. 1 year I actually didn't give her anything because I didn't know it was on, so that's probably the worst gift I've given her.
I've forgotten Mother's Day, so that's probably the worst.
I reckon I bought her a little garden many years ago now. I used to bought it from the school fete, and I reckon that was pretty shitty now looking back.
I gave her a bird bath, just gone, and I don't reckon I've seen a bird in there yet. I haven't given my mum a present for Mother's Day because she's Jehovah's Witness, so she reckons you should love them every day of the year.
Just probably a birthday card.
Underwear, probably.
Pair of secateurs.
A lavender pot or something like that.
She's pretty good, Chris. She doesn't expect much. Maybe the old, offer to give her breakfast in bed or something like that. I'm a little bit stingy with my presents.
Probably nothing.
Cossie. Your dear old mum. Surely,
Yeah, no, I'm not sure what I got her last year. But she's coming over to the game this weekend and we'll try and catch up Sunday.
What
We
about
always
your
do.
mum, Jim? What do you got?
I've bought her a present already, Gary.
Yeah.
Yep.
What is it?
It's a book called 50 Shades of Grey. And my old man is going to be very grateful. Don't worry about that for one
Sticks,
second.
he won't
Old
know himself.
smacker. He'll be walking around with a grin from ear to ear. Now, very quickly, I need to talk about the fact that the Carlton Football Club, just at the moment, under 45,000 members, which is a club record. They're pushing towards 50,000. Carlton FC, absolutely. Great performance. So move carltonfc.com.au. How people get stuck in.
We need all the Carlton supporters to jump on board. We're aiming for 50,000, so if we can do that in the next couple of weeks, that'll be great. So jump on board.
And why not? They're on the move. Don't worry about that. Now, speaking of clubs on the move, it is a great pleasure to have this young man on the Footy Show for the first time. He is the captain of the Essendon Football Club. He is also one of the best on-ballers in the competition, and he is also one of the game's most respected figures. Please put your hands together for Joe Watson.
Hello, mate. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Take a seat.
Joe, good to see you, man. How are you, mate?
Well, thank you, Gary.
Very nice to have you in the Hello Studios of Channel 9.
Inaugural appearance.
It's his first appearance.
Inaugural.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Following in the footsteps of his famous father, but we might get to Tim later. Your footy club, going beautifully. I mean, like this time last year, you were going well in the first 8 games. I think you had 5 wins and a draw. It just petered out a little bit. Did you think you'd find yourself in the position you are, 5 wins and just the 1 loss at the moment?
I certainly hoped we would be somewhere around this. I suppose early on we probably weren't playing terrific football, but we were managing to sort of grind out wins. And then I think the Carlton game sort of turned things around for us, and then I thought we were pretty competitive without being fantastic against Collingwood. But I thought that the group played the way we wanted to play against Brisbane, and obviously got a huge challenge on Saturday night.
A difficult time, probably not for you guys, but the transition from Matthew Knights to James Hird, and Mark Thompson coming along as well. Now, from an Essendon point of view, it wouldn't have mattered at all, but there was a degree of controversy around. The impact that James has been able to have in 18 months is pretty astonishing, I reckon, in terms of the way that he's got you boys playing for it.
Yeah, I think so, and I think that the way that the club is now set up, you know, there's people who have to take enormous amount of credit for that. You know, David Evans and Ian Robson for the cast that they've ensembled, and I think that you know, the people that we now have in place, you know, led by Bomber and Hurdy, demand success and have put the club in and the players, given them the best opportunity to try and achieve it.
Was Anzac Day a disappointment or an inspiration? Well, it must have been an inspiration to play in just almost, but for the roll of the ball be there. Oh. And as we move into the twilight zone...
this is why I didn't want to come on, Sam. I knew something like this would happen.
Before Joe starts to really panic.
Can I assure you, we haven't set this up, mate.
This is definitely not a setup, so...
But it looks good, though. No. Now it's... There we go.
Thought you were back at the dawn service, mate.
It's about to run off then, Joe.
Well, just expanding on that, I'll get this in while people can see me, Gary.
Yep.
Obviously, disappointment must be an inspiration just to be almost there and know that you can take the big boys on.
Yeah, I think Collingwood were a team that sort of put us to the sword a few times over the last 4 or 5 years. So, you know, we were disappointed that we weren't able to clinch the game. We didn't feel that we played particularly well, but you know, I thought that resilience of the group to grind out, and it was obviously, you know, a great Anzac Day for the spectators. So it sort of leaves you with a little bit more to try and gain.
Great players in footy, Job, I always reckon have a fair bit of swagger about how they, you know, perform on the field and a real sort of confident way they go about it. You are now one of the great players in the competition, but you don't seem to have any of that. Is that fair, as from an outsider looking in? You seem to just be someone who turns up, does it without any real affectation.
Yeah, I suppose for me it's not sort of a natural thing. So I think that those guys who sort of portray that, it's quite a natural thing, and I would never want to try and manufacture, you know the way, the presence that Brownie has and things like that. I think a lot of the stuff that we focus on is internal, and we have a really big value on that. And let the guys who can swagger do it on the stage themselves.
Well, there was one he played for your club for a lot of years. He's down the end there.
Job's story is an amazing story. I remember when he first got to the club, he used to take bets on, we used to do sprint training, what muscle he was going to pull first, whether it was a quad, hammy, calf, because tell us, how much heavier were you then than you are now?
Yeah, I was probably, just, you know, 4 or 5 kilos, but it was probably not the right kind of weight that you want to be carrying, Lordy. And I think that, you know, I was pretty unaware or pretty naive to the, you know, what requirements of being an AFL footballer were. But, you know, I learned pretty quickly that you only get one career, and if you really want to make something of it, then you've got to put your best foot forward and do as much work as you can.
And you've got some vision of your first game. Now, this was perhaps your most memorable moment in what's becoming a very celebrated career. Can you remember that we actually did? I think Channel 9 may have been doing the footy, and we were here this night.
Yeah.
And had great expectation. The build-up was enormous. The son of Tim and all those sorts of things. And how'd you end up?
I suppose in horse racing terminology, I was in need of a run, I reckon. And, the experience was great, but I really sort of realised how far away I was. And, you know, it took me a while, and you sort of think now that the pressure that young guys get put under as soon as they enter the AFL system, you know, I was fortunate enough that I was given, you know, a couple of years to try and mature, I guess.
Now, what about, I know these are questions you've been asked 100 times, but to carry the Watson name at the Essendon Footy Club is significant. You're now doing a great job of it. Was it tough early?
Yeah, it was tough early, yeah, and I think that a lot of father-sons that I've spoken to find it difficult and just trying to create their own identity. And I think that's natural. You know, you get the expectations placed on you, and for a period of my life I felt, you know, I wasn't sort of an individual, I was just the son of my dad. And I think once you break through that, then it becomes, you know, the expectations from others, the burden isn't there as much, and you start to form your own identity.
One of the things that I love and we love about watching you play is that you get everything out of yourself. And there was a game a couple of weeks ago, it was against the Gold Coast Suns, I think, up there at Metricon. And I'm not showing this to embarrass you, but this is how tough and hard you have to run these days in footy. And You're obviously taking in a lot of fluid. It's a particularly humid night. Now, we're not saying that to embarrass you, but you run yourself to the point of exhaustion in most games.
Yeah, I've felt like that before, but it's never been on the footy field. And I suppose that's just I copped one right in the solar plexus, and I was on all fours, and I just couldn't control myself. So. Blokes that I suppose go through a similar thing.
Job, there's not much that's gone wrong for you guys at Essendon in terms of the on-field, 5-1. But what about the injuries? Can all the Essendon supporters at home, is there one single reason why you think you've had so many soft tissue injuries?
Well, I certainly think that we've trained harder than what we had before, Lordy. And it's been well documented that guys have put on size. But I think that they've pushed the boundaries. And Hurdy spoke to us. He said, You'll never regret from me pushing you harder. And I think that that's the kind of philosophy that you want from your senior coach, your senior physio, your fitness advisor. You'll never be angry at them for pushing you too far. You'll be, when your career's finished, you'll be sort of dirty on them if they didn't push you enough. So one of those things, the byproduct of that is that there's been some soft tissue injuries. Luckily, none of them have been really major, and most of those guys will start to filter through over the next couple of weeks.
Well, Job, you're making your footy show debut, and we are very grateful for you for coming in. And Force, you would remember back to the very first ever show when Trev and Ed and yourself were tearing it to shreds. Look at this man. This is the first ever panel. Yep. The Chief, Doug, and the great Tim Watson.
The McTucky.
Joe probably wasn't even born then.
He probably wasn't.
It was 19 years ago, so how old are you now, Joe?
27, so...
And if you could hear Tim speak, I tell you what, I know Tim not that well, but I know him pretty well. Absolutely uncanny voice resemblance.
He is, and he's a big presence in the media landscape, Tim, still, of course, with his radio show on SEN.
Does he ring you up and chat to you about how you're going, or does he keep well back?
No, the only thing he ever says to me, and if I've come off the ground and I'm a bit disappointed or something like that after the way I played, and he always just asks me if I was injured. That's sort of his sign. You didn't play well because you looked injured.
Fantastic.
Hey, it is great to have you in. It's also opportune. We've got a very special guest in the audience, and we're going to introduce you to him. He's a young lad by the name of Sean Wilson Miller. You may have seen him. He's been in the news in the past week for sad reasons. He's had 2 heart transplants already, as this young man faced up to more challenges in his short life than anyone really should have to. And we have found out that he's a massive footy show fan, and more importantly, a massive Essendon fan. And the fact that Job's in here tonight, we thought we'd get him in and introduce him to her. So, Sean, welcome to Footy Show. Great to have you, mate. Thanks for come up here. This is an opportunity to meet one of your heroes. Loves the Essendon Footy Club.
Hello, mate. How are you? Nice to meet you.
You too.
Thanks for coming on.
How are you, mate? Put it there. Sit down there, Sean, and Joe.
Sit down here,
Big
Sean.
Coxie can stand for a
Thanks,
minute.
Coxie,
Joe will sit next to you. Now, just tell us about your love of the Essendon Footy Club. How come you barrack for the Bombers?
I just like the red and black.
You just
The
like
colours,
red and black?
Yeah, the colours red and black.
And your that's
as good a reason as any.
That's as good a reason as any. Is it? And your favourite player? Who's your favourite player running for the Bombers?
2, Joe Watson and Michael Hurley.
Who was the other one?
Michael Hurley.
Chosen, mate.
Now, I just want you to just think about this for a minute. You wouldn't understand what is happening to this lad. Stand up now. Come on. I want you to show. I want you to lift up your shirt. This man here, this young man, has had 2 of someone else's hearts put in his body, and he's staggering and he's in trouble. And if we reckon we know what adversity is, and we complain about the traffic or getting over the Westgate Bridge, just spare a thought for this young man, Sean.
Yep.
He's doing it tough, and the thing that has inspired him is you. And it must be humbling for you, Tim, to know that a man in his circumstances...
Tim?
Sorry, mate. Sorry, Joe. Must be... Job, it must be humbling for a man who is in his circumstances, just wants to meet you just in whatever time he's got left with us.
Yeah, it certainly is, and it's only a small part, but the footy club would love to have you and your family down for the round 10 game and come down to the rooms and meet Hurdy and the guys, and also we've got a footy and a jumper here for you. And
wow!
I know it's only small, but the boys really appreciate the supporters that we have. And
thank you.
what we might do is get you to stay with us because we're going to have a look at the Essendon game. We want to get you a very, very special thought. So Mark Murphy's going to talk us through, and then we want to get you to give a message to the Essendon boys. So Murph, next one is Essendon.
We've got Essendon v West Coast on Saturday night. The Bombers are flying at the moment. They go in unchanged. You can see Brett Stanton there is flying at the moment. Had 39 touches last week. 154 Supercoach, not a bad effort there. As we flip over to the West Coast. Out Adam Selwood with a hand injury. Ashton Ham suspended. In's Mitch Brown and Neats for his first game.
Look at Coxie.
Coxie's flying there at 141, but I think Neats is a half-forward flanker. Coxie, who's pretty lightning, so good for him to debut.
Who are you picking, Murph?
Well, I think Essendon will win. I reckon. I think the Eagles have got quite a few amount of injuries, so I think they'll find it tough to scrap forward, missing Josh Kennedy, Mark Nikoski, and Michael Carr obviously for the year. So I think the Bombers will win.
Can't wait to watch the matchup of Coxie and Bell Chambers. I think the improvement, the Master v the bloke on the rise, and I just think 7 of their best 22 out West Coast at Etihad Stadium. Bombers rarely lose, so I think they can win.
All right, Coxie. Haven't put a foot wrong, your boys. This is a nice challenge against the Bombers.
Yeah, it is. Essendon obviously up and going, playing some fantastic football, and we're going to have to be at our best to knock them off. And just obviously want to say congratulations to Bo Waters, who plays his 100th game, vice captain of our footy club. And it's probably taken him 9 or 10 years to get to 100 games just with what he puts his body through. So he's really inspiring for our teammates, and hopefully he can do it again.
Job, we need to quickly mention that Bombers members, because of the unique way that they access seats at Etihad when you play these big games, need to book a ticket. Because if they don't, general admission for this game is basically sold out. So if you want to get and see the Bombers take on the West Coast Eagles in the biggest game of the weekend, if you're a member of the club, you need to book a ticket. Everything's going. You mentioned David Evans, and he has done a great job. Everything's going beautifully off field. The new facility out at Tullamarine, everything's swimming along nicely.
Yeah, I think the new facility, the turf will be ready for November pre-season, and the facility should be finished by April next year. So,
Jimmy, I'm not sure. If you're a non-member of the Essendon Footy Club, you need to book your ticket.
Right.
So members have a seat. So if you're a non-member and you want to go, you can't just roll up. You need to book a ticket. Now, Shawnee.
Yeah, come on. What do you reckon?
What do you think about
Give us
this
a
game?
reason
You've got
why.
Dean Cox over there, the West Coast champion.
Yeah, I'm going to hold my...
Yeah, you got to
Don't worry about the colours. We know they're black and white. They're black and red.
Why are the Bombers going to win?
The Bombers are going to win because of our captain, Job.
Yes. And hang on, he's not finished. Hang on.
And Aaron Davey. He surprised us.
Elwyn?
all.
Elwyn?
Elwyn Davey, yeah.
Yep, indeed.
Elwyn Davey.
If I can call him Tim, you can call him Owen.
What about Job? Lloydie mentioned Tom Bell Chambers in great form, and Paddy Ryder. Where does it leave your great mate David Hill?
yeah, well, I think Hilly is due to return probably in 2 weeks' time. I think the way David can play, that he can complement the other two guys. Also, I think that there'll probably be a stage where we'll rotate one of them just to give him a break. We've only got 3 ruckmen on our list, so they're all pretty vital. So I think that he'll be sort of intertwined into the group.
Well, Shawnee, again, mate, from all of us here, our big footy show audience, we wish you all the best. Don't forget that round 10, I think it's against the Demons.
It is against Melbourne.
Danger game for you, Shawnee, do you think, against the Demons?
I don't think
so. What? You don't think so?
No.
Oh, well, you're in good hands, mate.
I just would like to say a special thanks to the Royal Children's Hospital and my transplant coordinator, Anne Ship, and Dr. Robert Weintraub.
Oh,
well done.
And Joe, just quickly, before we let the two of you go, just mention, Sean, that his other favourite player is Michael Hurley. How far away is he?
Hurls was knocking down the door to play this week and was very unhappy when he got told he wasn't, so he'll be right for Richmond Dreamtime next week.
And while I've got you quickly along the panel, yes or no, State of Origin footy, you want it back and would you play?
Yeah, I'd play, but I think it might be incorporated. I'd like for it to be incorporated perhaps in the last week of the NAB Cup.
Big Coxie?
Yeah, totally agree.
Yep, play.
Yep,
Murph.
definitely.
You blokes have said it all before, but when push comes to shove and the game comes around, you all pull out. And the only way this will work is if you all continue to put your hand up and actually follow through. So if it was in the NAB Cup, you'd all make yourself available.
Yeah, I think that last week in the NAB Cup, I reckon, probably the perfect time for it.
Sam disagrees?
No, well, I won't tell you why. Well, we'll tell you why later.
Later.
There's a sensible reason why I disagree, a logical reason, and we should mention it. It's a romantic notion to have it, but there is a very sensible reason why we shouldn't have it.
OK, we'll get to that a little later.
We will. We need to thank these two fine people for joining us. Joe Watson is here, as is Sean. So thank them both very much for coming in. Good luck. And we are going to take a break on the Footy Show, back with plenty more after this. Still to come on the Footy Show, the Foss cops at Sweet in street talk.
You run into when you haven't got a gun.
Some ripping prizes up for grabs in Almost Footy Legends. And finally, put the champers on ice as Gary brings us home with some real quality hume. Worth hanging around for, Manu.
Definitely.
Agreed.
Welcome back to Footy Show. Great to have your company. Don't miss the Sunday Footy Show. And also, following that, the return of the TAC Cup Future Stars. Dustin Fletcher, the special guest. Plenty of news kicking around. Best in the business. Joins us, Damien Barrett. Welcome.
Hey, guys.
Damo, off the top, James alluded to the fact the AFL investigation into one of the big names of the AFL. Chris Judd, that man.
It is Chris Judd, Gaz, and it's over an investment he made to the tune of $500,000 with then Coterie Club member for the Blues, Mark Lowe Jadouche. Now, the AFL this week has asked questions of Judd's manager Paul Connors over that particular deal with Lowe Jadouche, and he has since become a board member of the Carlton Footy Club. The matter recently played out in the Supreme Court. Judge sought to get back that $500,000 which was invested through and into another company. The AFL tonight has refused to discuss this matter. It says it doesn't involve and discuss any individual cases, but we do know they've been asking questions about this matter this week, and Paul Connors, Judge's manager, has said to the Footy Show tonight that as far as I'm concerned there is no issue at all, and Carlton Chief Executive Greg Swan said that he knew nothing of it either, but we do know they've been asking questions about it. OK, let's move on. Travis Cloak is a name that continues to be brought up week after week, and we believe there's another club who've inquired about his services. Yeah, there's a couple of developments on it. We'll touch on that in a minute. The first development is that the GWS involvement and interest in Cloak is nowhere near as strong as we had been led to believe, that Fremantle clearly is making the running on this matter, and there's even some people close to the deal that are saying GWS is only lukewarm, that they're happy to go with the combination of Jeremy Cameron and Jonathan Patton with their big man. But there is a new player, and that new player is the Western Bulldogs, who, as recently as yesterday, inquired of Cloak's management about what it would be required to get him out of Collingwood. They haven't put an offer to them, but they have certainly inquired about it. The club today wouldn't comment about it when we asked them, but we do know for a fact they asked about Cloak yesterday through his management. Going to be ongoing until Travis Cloak puts pen to paper. Let's head down to Geelong. Trent West and Travis Barker, a couple of players with contract negotiations and injuries. Yeah, the injury concern is for Varco. We know he had a bad foot injury back in January. He had a screw removed from the foot last week. He's probably still 3 weeks away from a VFL return. It could be worse than that, but he's going to be not looking at a return at the best until the midway point of the season with that foot. The contract issue is Trent West, the ruckman. 26-game career, all 6 matches this year. His currency's going through the roof given the big man problems. Otten's retirement, Stephenson doubts about it, and injuries to Vardy and also Dawson Simpson. He's out of contract. He doesn't want to talk about it at all until the end of the year. That's his management's position, and his currency is climbing. Damien Barrett, ladies and gentlemen, very nice, short and sharp and to the point. Lovely work, Damo. Yep.
Oh, thank you, Gary. Very nicely done. Now, quickly, we need to update you on Hairy Gary. This is, of course, the greyhound that we were introduced to a little while back, and not 100% confirmed force, but it looks like Hairy Gary will make his racing debut at Warrnambool next Wednesday.
Point out which one's the dog.
Yeah, with the coat on.
With the coat on.
That's it.
Yep.
So we'll keep our fans updated, of course, Facebook page and Twitter in the coming days. We are hearing, though, that the Greyhound Racing Victoria people may well be organising some eyebrows, some mono brows for the fans who attend Hairy Gary's first race. So, Gary, everyone's in on it. That's why we love it.
You'll be going to the opening race?
Oh, yeah, I'll be going to Warrnambool.
Down to the Bull?
Yeah, down to the Dogs.
That's it.
John O'Brien.
Yeah, no problem with that. Don't think, Gary, don't get a serious face on when we're laughing and stuff. All right, that's very nice.
And incidentally,
yes.
Coming up, the joke of the... We've got I'm also not going to mention now, we've got a very important guest here from across the other side of the world here.
Yes.
And this could catapult this man over to Bollywood, Hollywood, anywhere. It was even previewed during the week, the joke.
Was it?
Watch.
Oh! That's unbelievable.
It's coming up.
3 million people watch that show, Gary, so they're all waiting for your joke. All right, the next game, which is a very, very big game, Gary, involves North Melbourne and the Western Bulldogs.
Yeah, James, big game for your mob, sitting at 3 wins, 3 losses. Todd Goldstein, great to see him get back in the side, named at centre forward. Robbie Tarrant and Mullet omitted, and there's a number of other guys who might come into the squad. And for the Western Bulldogs, after losing a tight one to Collingwood last week, Jakira out with a hip injury, Liam Jones a back injury, and Easton Wood, who's been in good form, out with a hamstring, and Fletcher Roberts and Daniel Pearce are 2 guys who may make their debut for the Western Bulldogs. But well done to Jack Zeeble, playing his 50th game for the North Melbourne Football Club.
Who's winning, Lloyd?
I think that North can't afford to lose, and I think it'll be too strong for the Western Bulldogs.
Murph?
Yeah, I agree. North too strong. They were good against the Eagles last week, 3.5 quarters, but just fell a bit short. I think they'll be too good.
Coxie?
Yeah, totally agree. North Melbourne very good last week. Too strong for the Bulldogs.
Samuel?
Now, bear with me. I don't want to debate about this, but this is why State of Origin is not a goer, Gary. Just these 2 sides, take them for example. North Melbourne and the Western Bulldogs, both, Jim, don't jump off the chair.
Well, what are you going to say?
Both fiscally strapped. And if they've invested, well, fiscally not as healthy as some of them. And if they've invested $1 million in their 2 best players, paying them $500,000 each, and their best 2 players happen to play for Victoria and South Australia and Victoria and Western Australia, and they have to lose their 2 best players and they get injured, there's their 2 best players, Footscray, who've won 1 premiership in 100 years, and suddenly they're without their 2 best players. You can't afford in this day and age to risk your 2 best players getting put out for a promotional game.
It's a reasonable argument, one I disagree with, and we might have to discuss it at greater length a little later, because we're a little pushed for time. We've got someone we need to introduce. Last week, Jim, or 2 weeks ago, last week, we went down the building face first, overcame his fear. We said that it was Shane Crawford's turn next time, and we welcome that man to the Footy Show tonight to tell him what his fear is. Here comes Shane Crawford, please. Welcome to you, Shane. Great to have you along.
Hello.
I know you're very nervous at the moment. We asked for suggestions last week via Twitter. The Nissan Navara power of the mind, overcome your fear. And we need
I don't have any fears.
Have you fun?
I don't have any fears.
You don't have any fears?
No.
Well, we believe that bull riding is one of your greatest fears. We believe that is something that you're not too keen on. You've got some history in this, a family history we'll touch on very shortly.
But family history of bull riding?
That's exactly what we're talking about.
Well, I'm going to, because your grandfather, Ray Crawford, and this is him, Ray Crawford was a rhinestone cowboy Australian rodeo champion. There he is. Ray. Have a look at him. Is that true?
That's very true, yep, I do. I've actually got one of his World Championship belts.
Yes?
Yes, but there's no way I'm going to ride.
Well, it's in the family, so it's the professional bull riding. We're going to do it properly. We're not going to muck around. This is the sort of stuff that you will be doing. You will be taking on bulls of this size. And it can be a bit scary, but this is what it's all about, Shane. And we ask you tonight whether you're up for the challenge or not.
Well, I think it's a bit silly.
Shane, it's 10 grand to a local footy club if you've got the minerals to do it.
I've got... Oh, you know, I'm prepared to do anything, as you know, but I've got 4 kids, and the thing is, you fall off a bull, you're going to hurt yourself, but then they try and stample you.
Well, but I'll act as the clown and distract it, like they do there. I'll do that. I'm happy to do that, mate. I'll get its attention while you're trying to ride it.
While you're thinking about it, we've set up a mechanical bull over here. James and Sam are going to take you over there right now. You're going to have a run through on the mechanical bull, get a bit of a feel for it. Come on, boys, we're going over there. While they're going over there, there's a chance for your local footy club to get involved and win $10,000. This is how you do it. It's the Nissan Navara Power of the Mind. How can Nissan Navara power up your club? 10 grand. Footyshow.com.au. Just enter. And if Shane takes the challenge up and completes it and you're the lucky club, $10,000 goes your way. So here we go, Jim. While you set that up, because we've got to talk Shane into actually doing this. Coxie, I want you to take us through the next game. Fremantle take on Port Adelaide. Sunday, Patterson Stadium.
That day, Sunday afternoon at Patterson Stadium. In for Fremantle, Sandilands, Van Berlo and Silvani. Obviously an extended bench for Sunday games. Beat the Gold Coast by 7 points last week. And Metricon go over to Port Adelaide. In is Brett Ebert, Phillips, Pearce and O'Shea. Out Hitchcock. Obviously lost to Richmond by 37 points at AAMI Stadium. Sandilands a massive inclusion. So I think Fremantle will have an easy win over Port Adelaide.
A bit disappointing last week, Port Adelaide against the Tigers, Murph.
Yeah, they were a little bit disappointing, the Port Adelaide side, but I think Fremantle over there will just be too good.
Low-scoring encounters with Fremantle, Lloydie, so
Yeah,
give the opposition a chance.
Yeah, they're not travelling that well, the Dockers, but enormous pressure Matty Primus is under at the moment, Gary, so they'd want to put in a better performance, but Freo far too strong this week.
All right, we want to send Shane Crawford away. We want him to ride a bull to overcome his fear, and to get into the mood, we thought we'd get the mechanical bull wound up. Jim?
Hey, Gary, a couple of things. Firstly, Footy Show members will remember this happening a little while ago on the Footy Show as we take a look at our fearless leader, and bang, there went the hamstring. 6 weeks. So we love the vision of that. Shut up, Gary. Earlier on today, Gary decided to have a go on the mechanical bull and have a look at what happened when he did that. He goes off and then a hamstring.
That's true. That is true.
Pulled a hamstring getting off a mechanical bull, Gary.
Yeah. Not badly, but just a little level.
Right now, just before we start, we've got to decide what setting do we want it on? Do we want it on rugged, medium, weak, or a Jimmy Brayshaw setting?
Jimmy Brayshaw.
Well, what do we do? What do we put
Jimmy
it on?
Brayshaw.
Rugged. Here we go. Come on, Wayne.
Right, I know I'm going to distract the bull, Shane, so if you fall off it...
Am I on the right way?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Righto.
Lean back when it goes forward, Shane.
Oh, shoot.
Give it a bit of something.
Oh, man. Oh, shit. Oh, man, no.
Get out, Shane.
All right. Gary, we're going to take a little break here on the Footy Show,
Yeah,
but
we
there
are,
are some
Jim.
tweets coming in already.
I saved it from goring it. Shane,
what we
I got
can
it.
tell you,
Oh,
though,
shit, there you got to run.
Shane has accepted this challenge, so get your entries in. That's the good news. The bad news, the only place that will accept him to do it is in Rockhampton, so he's heading up to Rockhampton next week. So Thursday night live, Rodeo style, Shane Crawford riding a bull. You don't want to miss it. We're going to take a break. Plenty more still to come on the Footy Show. Draft here in the audience tonight, and as usual, James Bogue's draft giving away $1,000 to our panellist local club. Mark Murphy's already got $1,000 because he's been in, but Coxie's here for the first time. Local club, Coxie?
The Dampier Sharks.
Dampier Sharks.
Top end of WA.
$1,000 going their way, so fantastic. Thanks to James Bogue's draft. Magnificent, righto. Time now for Almost Footy Legends, Coxie. Let's have a look at this. First one is North Ringwood versus Doncaster. Action from last year's Eastern Footy League Grand Final. And Michael Batista. Look at that. Takes an absolute hanger. Not a bad time to do it in the Grand Final either. That is a beauty. Let's head to the ammos now. Old Collegians versus Old Scotch. Another mark here. Brilliant specky by Matty Moore. Playing in the VAFA. And also is a very nice hang, Coxie. Who have you got?
Yes, and here we go for the third. Menundra versus Cairns. So a little bit of a fight or a biff happening here. The little bloke doesn't like it. Actually shits his pants and then gets up, picks the ball up and decides to boot it at him. So
a little little bit of a dummy spin there.
Yeah, it wasn't. So Brenton Hicks sent that in. So
well done to
crowd,
Brendan. Now audience participation needed. Who liked number 1, the big hanger by Michael Battista? Not bad. What about the old Collegians v old Scotch, Matty Moore? What about Manundra versus Cairns, where the blokes cracked it and kicked it into the bloke in front of him? I think you'll both got it. So Brenton Hicks from White Rock, Queensland, you're the winner, and these are the great prizes heading your way.
Thanks to James Boag's Draft, our weekly winner experiences the pure thrill of taking home $1,000 cash, while our runners-up receive $500 each. James Boag's Draft. The pure Tassie water makes everything better. At the end of the year, our runner-up pockets $20,000 cash thanks to Deep Heat, providing fast temporary relief from muscle aches and strains.
Deep Heat
Is the stuff of legends. Thanks to Home Timber and Hardware, our major prize winner drives away in the ultimate tradies ute. Valued at over $46,000, this powerful four-wheel drive is a tradie's best mate. It'll help you do a proper job next time you pick up your gear from Home Timber and Hardware. It's all thanks to our great friends at Home Timber and Hardware, Australia's only proper hardware store.
This is how you get stuck into it. GPO Box 9, Melbourne, Victoria 3001, or go to thefootyshow.com.au to upload a video. Get stuck into the best prizes in football. Now, we did request, Coxie, the Dampier Sharks to send us some photos of you as a young footballer. Interesting what they did send down to us, actually. Here you are as a surf lifesaver. That's as a young man. And then I think we get a look at the rig here as well, just down on the foreshore.
No footy photos anywhere, Coxie?
No, I'm not sure. Yeah.
Got none of
Obviously
those?
not.
Yeah, got a scrapbook?
Black and white would have been back then.
Yeah.
Well, Gary,
Mine
we
are in
also
sepia.
asked. No, we didn't ask.
No, we did not. What we're going to move on to, Jim, is the next game. Brisbane
All right,
Lions up against Collingwood.
Yes, the Brisbane Lions take on Collingwood Saturday night up at the Gabba. The Brisbane are currently 2 wins and 4 losses. Lost to Essendon last week by 67 points. Jonathan Brown recaptured some of his good form with 21 touches and 2 goals. So we flip over to Collingwood. Some big outs with Benny Johnson doing a shoulder, solo, knee, and Ugle omitted. Ins are Didak, Blair, and Seedsman. And I think the prize will just be too good for the Lions up there on Saturday.
That's it.
Yeah, I think the prize certainly on the way up now. Winning a couple in a row, so they'll be too good.
Yeah, they were really horrible last week, the Brisbane Lions, as bad a performance as I've seen this year. I'm concerned about them, where they're going as a club and in terms of the on-field. So I think that Collingwood should towel them up this week.
Oh, no, I tell you what, when the taffeta truncheons... Wow, he's worried about how they're going.
Well, fair enough.
Well, if they're in trouble, I'm going for the Pies as well. I was actually going to say it wouldn't be a bad... It would be a fairly close game. Now, Gary, and you?
Collingwood for me.
Now, Gary, there's such a thing as being in the right place at the right time, and fortunately, fortune would have it that we have in the audience with us the Senior Vice President, wait for this, of Warner Brothers from LA, California,
yes.
Jeff Whalen.
There he is.
There he is there.
Yep.
He's the Senior VP desk.
Yep.
And should, this is like The Voice, should he think that this is probably the funniest, most humorous thing he's ever seen, you could well, what's that?
Number 1.
Thank you very much, Jeff. You could well be on a large plane over to LA and you just could not be here next week.
He knows a joke when he sees one.
He knows a joke. Now, set it up. Are you setting the joke up? You setting the joke up?
Channel 7 copped some criticism over their coverage last week in the press, and it caught our attention that they turned to a tennis player on the weekend to add a little bit to the halftime coverage. Leighton Hewitt was that player.
It's a fact of footy.
He joined the panel here. There's Lingy and Richo and Das.
The Bristler.
Brian Taylor, so just giving a little bit extra with someone outside.
Yes.
We believe this week they are going with a whole different look.
believe?
And the special guest will in fact be Black Caviar. Who's
That is sensational.
my God.
That's
How
been-
did he think of them?
That's been
That
3
is
days in the coming,
absolutely priceless. That is
Prepared it all
as
week.
funny a thing as I've ever seen. That is, I'm sorry. Figure, oh, my godfather, Gary, how do you do that? Oh, jeez.
Look at him. Look, he's off.
Oh, my God.
Oh, no. The
Black
beautiful ladies in the front
caviar.
here are feeling sorry for Gary after
Black
his...
caviar. I thought we were going well with that guest tipster, the
Yep.
chief. Incidentally, he didn't give a tip. Do you know why? Because we caught him coming back from the supermarket.
Yes, yes.
I don't know if we can say the chief. But
Hey, Sam.
Hey?
Are we going to ask?
There he is.
That's the chief. He wasn't available to give a tip this week. He'd been... And the pecs... The pecs and the rig have gone, the guns.
Trained off a touch.
They've drifted away a bit, but he's still got an avid appetite,
Hey,
the chief.
we need to get into the next game. We'll get Gary back on the panel.
Dear.
Adelaide and Geelong. Amey Stadium. Crows injury-free, absolutely flying. Defeated the Swans in Sydney. No one's been able to do that this year. John Jenkins comes in for McKernan, who has been suspended, and Dangerfield. Lots of talk about him and whether he's going to remain a Crow, but he's playing unbelievably good footy. Swing over to Geelong. 1-7 of their last 8 in Adelaide. They have made some changes. Burns, Gillies and Brown head out. Lonergan, Selwood and Hunt are big ins for Geelong Football Club. As I said, Lloydie won 7 of their last 8 in Adelaide. What do you think's going to happen?
I think they can win. I think that Adelaide had a tough encounter last week against the Swans, but the Cats are such a professional outfit. I think they can get the job done.
Murph?
Yeah, almost game of the round here, Adelaide v Geelong at the moment. So I think the Cats will get over there and get the win.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Adelaide. They've shown some fantastic form. Obviously, Taylor Walker and Tippett up forward, really strong focal points. So they get the ball in there, they'll be tough to beat.
Hey, we need to just quickly mention hashtag Gary's joke at the moment.
Oh,
it is
dear.
trending on Twitter. That's how well it's been received.
Oh, dear.
It's trending awesome.
Oh, that is fantastic. Oh, dear me, that's unbelievable.
Your
How did he-
appreciation of another man's misery is the stuff of legend.
Can I let you in on a secret? We are in for it when we get to that. He is as black as a hat. He will...
Out
rip
of 10,
them.
Sam?
Eh?
Out of 10?
The joke?
Yeah.
Mate, rarely do you see comic genius, that is, to think that up and put a horse in between is extraordinary.
We are going to take a break. Street talk next, and we'll get going.
These are just some of the names I've been called this week. I do tend to take a bit of a belting, and a lot of people find it amusing. So this is Baron von Botox saying, enjoy.
I just like to sit down and watch a nice TV show with a bit of comedy, a little bit of comedy, more football, and listen to people that I can put up with. I can't put up with you, Sam. I reckon you're an arsehole.
Oh, my God. You fancy meeting you here.
What's that?
Fancy meeting you here. You f***ing idiot.
What I'm going to say to you now...
What are you going to say?
I'm going to back off. You look like an idiot and you are an idiot, Sam.
I think he secretly actually liked me.
You gotta be joking. I'm better in a rubbish bin than you.
I love taking the urine, but not everyone appreciates the urine being taken.
You are a complete idiot.
Sam Newman, I cannot stand him.
Total dickhead on telly. You are the worst person they could possibly have on television. You arrogant.
If he wasn't on it, I'd watch it, but he's a pain in the head.
You make my body crawl. No, well, as soon as your face comes on the television, you get off.
And just for a change, here's someone who likes me. No, my mistake, another person that hates me.
I've been out on the wetlands this year. I belong to the Coalition Against Duck Shooting, and
Yes.
I find it very distasteful that you are wandering around with dead ducks.
Can I
You need to grow up. You need to grow
I
up.
appreciate your advice. I can't. That was I can't, I said, in case you misheard that. I can't, I said.
I didn't mishear that.
I said I can't.
An interesting person. What's
that?
Are you single?
Well, I am at the minute, yeah.
Oh, 'cause my grandma's looking for someone.
Is she? Yes. Where is your grandma?
Don't think I'm one of those dills you pick up, because I'm not.
pick up those that you think are non-compass. And I'm not like that. I'm not stupid. Hey.
Tell you, Adelaide people, let's send this bastard back to Melbourne because we don't want fells in Adelaide.
Don't you just love it?
Put it there.
Yeah, thanks, doll.
Don't touch me, Tip.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
What the fuck's that? Oh, look at you. God, you're an old man. Hey, look at me. I'm a young little stallion.
How hard did your girlfriend hit you with the car?
Now, something about this woman grabbed me. That's right, it was a hand.
He says the F word 800.
Yeah. No, Sam. I don't
Thank you, doll.
I don't like that.
So you like clean television, do you?
Clean him out, too.
Did you see what that girl did then? Did you?
Yeah.
She grabbed me on the lunch.
I'm sorry for you.
No, quite enjoyed it. I hadn't eaten as it turned out.
And I taught Shane everything he knows, which is very little.
Look, guys, I'm not a footy fan.
No, it's all right. I'm going to ask some questions about Adelaide.
Yeah, well, does it look as though I might just be wanting to read this?
Oh, sorry. Well, I'll just wait here until you're finished.
Wait for it.
I've got to time something with but going out to see my 90-year-old mother.
Oh, do you want to send a cheerio to her?
No, I'd like you to off.
Now, here's a collector's item. Someone who doesn't mind me.
I love it.
Do you?
Hi, Tom. I love it. Sandwich!
So the next time you pass me in the street, I'd appreciate it.
What's that there? What does that represent? What?
Hey?
Yeah, no, what is it though?
Supposed to be a S.
For?
Off.
Cops a bit, doesn't he, old Foster? He does cop a bit, but takes it very
Enjoys
it. Hands it out, but cops plenty. Now, just quickly, we spoke about Mark Murphy's problems with mice.
We did.
Earlier in the show, Murph. You'd be happy to know that your housemate's been watching, Adam, and whilst watching the show, he thought he'd better go and check the trap. He went and checked your trap, and he's posted this photo on Twitter, and he's got one.
Oh, look at that.
Is that the one you've been chasing?
Looks like the one, yeah. I hope it is, anyway.
Well, he's got one, so you're one less anyway. You can go home safely.
Oh, let's take a look at the last game. It is St Kilda and Carlton, Murph's Saints went down to Hawthorn last week by 35 points at the MCG, but Big Cozzy was on fire, grabbing them out of the air everywhere. Kick 5, and there is BJ Goddard with the points in, playing very nicely. Some changes for the Saints as you swing over the Blues. Already discussed their game against GWS. Judd, Waite and Kernow come into their squad. There are some big ins. And this is an interesting game. Interesting for as much as it's played on a Monday night, which is quite extraordinary. And Murph, we think we're pretty comfortable that you think your mob are going to win. What about you, Coxie?
Yeah, I think midfield far too strong. Carlton, obviously. Murph and Juddy back, playing some fantastic football, so they'll be too good.
Now, Force, we can't go to Matty Lloyd for his opinion because he's not there. He wants to have a crack at the mechanical ball.
Yep.
So who do you think's going to win this?
Well, I'm worried about St Kilda. I think they're financially unsound, and I worry about them, how they're going. That's what he said about Brisbane.
I know. That doesn't mean you have to say it.
No, I think Carlton will probably beat St Kilda, but be a very good game, the game of the round or the game of next week, as it turns out.
Oh, exactly.
Now I'm going to scare the bull in case he gets thrown.
All right, Gary, what are we doing?
All right, Jim. I'm not sure Murph realised that was really his housemate's house where he caught that mouse. So that's actual fact. Righto. Lloydie, the Twitter's gone nuts and they wanted the old Foss to get up on the horse.
Hey? No, I'm not getting up on the horse.
No, and he's a little bit old for this sort of stuff.
He just had hernia.
He had to go earlier and did his hernia, so he's not going to go. But Lloydie
I'll scare it, though.
And the challenge for Lloydie is to stay on. This is an Essendon Hawthorn thing. Longer than Shane Crawford. Now, Crawford stayed on for 16 seconds, Lloydo. So this is your big chance, mate. 20 seconds on the clock. Time starts now. Righto, away we go. Lloydie. 5, Lloydie. Going all right. He's going all right, Lloydie. He's all right, Lloydie. Hold on, Lloydie. Hold on. What are you doing?
I'm scaring it in case it gores him. That's when they throw and they go after him.
Have you done your hammy?
Yeah.
He's done his hammy, Jim. He's done his hammy, Jim.
He is scaring of Mechanical Bull, and Lloydie has done his hammy as Gary did earlier in the night. Extraordinary scenes at the Footy Show. Just a reminder as we go to the break. Shane Crawford will be riding a real bull in Rockhampton next week. Stick around, we'll be back to wrap up after this.
This is time coded. Essendon versus Hawthorn. Who stayed on the longest? We're about 13 seconds. We're about 14 seconds. Hawkins off. And Lloydie's second. Lloydie wins. Right on, Lloydie. Got up by a second there, so a little victory to the Essendon boys. Murph, before we say farewell and good night to you guys,
Yep,
you've got
got
involved
a
with
new program being run here by McDonald's called the Mac Pack. So just tips on nutrition and balanced lifestyle for kids. So get that and check that on macpack.com.au.
Hey, plenty of good stuff on there for the kids. Don't worry about that, buddy. Scotty Pendlebury and also Mark Murphy. Also, ladies and gentlemen, my co-panellist here turns 45 tomorrow, if you wouldn't mind. James Brayshaw.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks very much.
Hey, we don't see Coxie enough, but it's great of him to come over and drop in, so good luck in the weekend to you, Lloyd. Also to Lloyd.
And Gary, yes, could I just say, I want to congratulate you. Just whenever the show needs a lift, it is struggling. For you to come out with that gag is something that we're indebted to you for, Jim.
I liked it, Gary.
Was that the pièce de résistance of a really good night? You capped it all.
Crisp.
Jeff over there, he is already wired back to Hollywood and said, please send gas.
Trying to say good night. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next Thursday night at 9:30.